At 49, she didn't wake up expecting her life to change. There was no dramatic moment, no argument, no breakdown. It was just another ordinary day. She got up, did what needed to be done, answered messages, solved problems that weren't hers to solve, like she always had. And somewhere between carrying groceries, listening to someone else's worries, and pushing her own thoughts aside, something quietly clicked. She realized something she had never allowed herself to fully admit. Everyone relied on her. Everyone leaned on her strength. Everyone assumed she would handle it. But when she stopped and looked around, there was no one there for her. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a way she could point at or blame. Just a quiet absence. And for the first time in years, she didn't push the feeling away. She didn't minimize it. She didn't tell herself to be grateful or stay strong. She simply noticed it, and that realization changed everything. She didn't choose to be the strong one. It happened slowly. Over the years, she became the person others could depend on, the one who didn't complain, the one who always found a solution, the one who stayed calm when everyone else panicked. At work, she was reliable. In her family, she was the anchor. Among friends, she was the listener. And every time life demanded more, she adjusted. She learned to carry emotional weight quietly. She learned to say, "It's fine," even when it wasn't. She learned that being strong earned her respect and sometimes love. But what no one tells you is this: when you are always strong, people stop asking how you are. Not because they don't care, but because your strength becomes the expectation. So she kept going. She told herself this was just adulthood, that this was what responsible women did, that needing less made life easier for everyone. Until one day, she noticed how tired her body felt. Not the kind of tired sleep could fix, the kind that settles in your chest. She realized she had become so good at supporting others that she no longer recognized her own needs. And that's when the quiet question appeared. Who is there for me? Her life wasn't empty. She wasn't alone in the traditional sense. There were people around her, conversations, responsibilities, daily routines. But emotionally, something felt missing. She noticed it in small moments, when she shared good news and it passed unnoticed, when she felt overwhelmed but chose not to say anything, when she realized she had no space to fall apart. It wasn't that people ignored her. It was that she had trained them not to see her struggle. For years, she had been the one who held everything together. And now when she needed support, she didn't know how to ask for it. So she stayed silent. She told herself she didn't want to burden anyone, that others had their own problems, that she could handle it. She always had. But loneliness doesn't always come from being alone. Sometimes it comes from being unseen. And in that quiet loneliness, she understood something important. Strength without support eventually becomes exhaustion. She wasn't weak for feeling this way. She was human, and acknowledging that truth didn't break her. It grounded her. That realization didn't arrive with anger. It didn't come with a dramatic decision or a sudden rupture. It arrived quietly, the same way she had lived most of her life. At 49, she didn't want to start over. She didn't want to run away or reinvent herself completely. She just wanted to stop disappearing. For the first time, she began to notice how often she ignored her own limits, how quickly she said yes without checking how she felt, how natural it had become to put herself last, not because she had to, but because she always had. And once she saw it, she couldn't unsee it. She started paying attention to her body, to the tightness in her chest when she agreed to something she didn't want to do, to the quiet relief she felt when she chose rest instead of responsibility. Small changes began to happen. She didn't explain herself as much. She didn't rush to fix what wasn't hers to fix. She allowed silence without filling it. Some people noticed, others didn't, and that surprised her. She realized how many relationships had been built around her availability, not her presence. How often she had been valued for what she carried, not for who she was. Letting go of that wasn't easy. There was guilt, there was discomfort. There were moments when she wondered if she was becoming selfish. But deep down, she knew the truth. She wasn't becoming selfish. She was becoming honest. She learned that strength doesn't mean enduring everything quietly, that maturity doesn't require constant sacrifice, that being needed is not the same as being loved. Slowly, she began to create space for herself, emotionally and mentally. She rested without apology. She said, "Not today," without explanation. She stopped performing resilience for others. And something unexpected happened. She felt lighter, not because life became easier, but because she stopped fighting herself inside it. At 49, she understood that she could still be strong, but not at the cost of her own well-being. She didn't abandon the people she loved. She didn't turn cold or distant. She simply stopped abandoning herself. And that quiet shift changed everything. If this story feels familiar, pause for a moment. Many women reach this point in life, not because they failed, but because they carried too much for too long. Being strong is not the problem. Being invisible to yourself is. This realization doesn't demand immediate answers. It doesn't ask you to change your life overnight. Sometimes the most powerful shift begins with awareness, with noticing where you are tired, with recognizing where you've been silent, with allowing yourself to matter again. If you see yourself in this story, know this: you are not late, you are not broken, and you are not alone. If this message resonated with you, leave a heart or share what this realization has meant in your own life.